The sketchbook hit the cafeteria floor with a slap that echoed through the silence. Pages scattered across the polished tile, charcoal portraits, watercolor sunsets, pencil studies of hands and eyes. Luna Park's designer heel came down on one, leaving a dusty footprint across a carefully shaded face. Nia Okafor didn't move. She stood frozen, watching her art, her soul, being trampled by the most popular girl at Ridge Elite Academy. Around them, phones lifted. Recording. Always recording. These are actually sad, Luna said, her voice dripping with manufactured pity. Like, did you really think drawing him would make him notice you? But Kai Minute June was already crossing the cafeteria, his jaw set in a way no one at school had seen before. He dropped to his knees without hesitation, gathering every torn piece, every scattered page, like they were fragments of something sacred. When he stood, his voice cut through the whispers. These drawings are better than any of us pretending to be perfect. Everyone fell for the new boy when he arrived 3 months ago. Everyone except the one girl he actually wanted. If you want to see how their story unfolds, hit that subscribe button right now, because this one's going to break your heart before it heals it. And drop a comment telling me if you've ever been the outsider who caught someone's eye. Let's go. The morning Kai Minute June transferred to Ridge Elite Academy, the entire school knew about it before he walked through the gates. Screenshots of his enrollment photo flooded group chats. Girls analyzed every pixel, the soft waves of black hair, the thoughtful eyes that seemed to hold entire conversations, the subtle smile that suggested he knew something nobody else did. His half-Korean, raised in Canada, someone announced in homeroom, reading from their phone like a news anchor. His dad's a music producer. He plays like 5 instruments. I heard he turned down a modeling contract to focus on school, another girl added, which may or may not have been true, but nobody cared about facts when fantasy felt better. Nia heard all of this from her seat by the window, her charcoal pencil moving across paper in smooth, confident strokes. She was sketching the courtyard tree, trying to capture how morning light filtered through leaves. The chatter around her was just noise, the same noise that had surrounded her since her family moved from Lagos to Neo-Seoul 2 years ago. The noise that never quite included her. When Kai entered the classroom, the air shifted. Girls straightened in their seats. Lip gloss appeared. Hair got tucked behind ears with practiced casualness. He was exactly what they'd said, maybe better. There was something gentle in the way he moved, like he was always listening to music nobody else could hear. He bowed slightly to the teacher, his Korean formal but accented in a way that somehow made him more interesting. Please introduce yourself, the teacher said. I'm Kai Minute June. I'm happy to be here. I hope we can all get along well. Simple. Polite. His voice was quieter than expected, which made everyone lean in closer. You can sit there, next to Nia. The teacher gestured to the empty desk beside the window. Every girl in class felt a pang of jealousy. Nia didn't look up from her drawing. Kai slid into the seat, setting down a worn leather messenger bag. For a moment, he just sat there, and then he glanced over at Nia's sketchbook. His eyes widened slightly. That's really good, he said softly. Thanks, Nia replied without looking at him, adding shadow to a branch. He expected her to say more, to ask him questions, to smile, to do any of the things people usually did when they wanted something from him. But she just kept drawing, and something about that made him want to keep watching. By lunchtime, Kai had received 7 Instagram follow requests, 3 girls had asked if he needed help finding his classes, and someone had created a fan account called Kai at Ridge that already had 200 followers. He smiled politely at everyone, learned names, and felt increasingly like he was playing a character in someone else's story. He found Nia in the art room, eating a sandwich while painting. She'd changed the canvas from when he'd seen it that morning, the background was darker now, more complex. Do you always eat lunch here? He asked from the doorway. She glanced up, surprised to see him. Usually. It's quieter. Can I join you? She shrugged, which he took as permission. He sat on a stool across from her, unpacking his own lunch. For a few minutes, neither spoke. Just the sound of her brush against canvas, the distant noise of the cafeteria down the hall. You don't talk much, he observed. Neither do you, apparently. Everyone's wondering why you're not in the cafeteria with your new fan club. He laughed, a real laugh that caught them both off guard. Is that what it's called? What else would you call it? You've been here 4 hours and you're already the most popular person in school. Popular isn't the same as known, he said quietly. Then, nodding at her painting, what is it? A feeling. She didn't elaborate, but he understood. The canvas was all deep blues and purples, with fragments of gold breaking through like light through water. It felt like loneliness, but the kind that's chosen. The kind that's safe. I get that, he said. She really looked at him then, her brush pausing mid-stroke. His expression was open, honest. Not the carefully constructed charm he'd worn all morning. You should get back, she said, returning to her painting. People will wonder where you went. But he stayed until the bell rang, watching her work in comfortable silence. The whispers started the next day. Did you see Kai follow Nia on Instagram? Why would he follow her? She has like 200 followers. Maybe he feels sorry for her. Or maybe she asked him to. You know how some girls are. Nia heard the whispers because she was meant to hear them. That's how these things worked. The volume was always just loud enough to reach your ears, just quiet enough to pretend it wasn't intentional. She kept her head down, her sketchbook close. This wasn't new. She'd learned early that being different, being black in a space where she was one of maybe 5 black students, being quiet in a culture that valued collective enthusiasm, being artistic in a school obsessed with test scores, meant existing on the margins. She'd made peace with it. But Kai apparently hadn't received the memo about margins. He started appearing wherever she was. Not in an aggressive way, he just seemed to naturally drift toward quiet spaces, and those happened to be where Nia spent her time. The library during study period. The art room after school. The bench under the cherry blossom tree where she sketched during lunch when the weather was nice. Hey, he'd say, and she'd nod, and gradually they developed a rhythm. He'd practice guitar while she drew. She'd hum absent-mindedly while she worked, and one day she realized he was learning her melodies, turning her unconscious sounds into something structured and beautiful. Where did that tune come from? He asked one afternoon, his fingers finding the notes on his guitar. I don't know. My mom used to sing something like it when I was little. It's probably all mixed up in my head now, Nigerian lullabies and gospel songs and stuff I heard on TV. It's beautiful. Can you hum it again? She did, feeling self-conscious, and he played along, adding harmonies that made her simple melody feel complete. We sound good together, he said, and there was something in his voice that made her look away, her cheeks warming. The thing was, Nia had seen this movie before. The popular boy who's nice to the weird girl because he's genuinely nice, not because he sees her as anything special. She knew how it ended, with him dating someone from his own social stratosphere while she remained a footnote, the quirky friend he'd mention when he wanted to prove he wasn't shallow. But Kai kept showing up. 6 weeks into the semester, Luna Park decided she'd had enough. Luna was the kind of beautiful that required constant maintenance and generated constant attention. Her Instagram had 50,000 followers. Her boyfriend changed seasonally. She was interning at a fashion magazine while still in high school, and she made sure everyone knew it. She'd decided, week 1, that Kai would be her next boyfriend. The timeline in her head had him asking her out by week 3, them being official by week 5, and her posting couple photos that would drive her followers crazy. But it was week 6, and Kai barely looked at her despite the designer outfits, despite the strategic hallway appearances, despite the party invitation she delivered personally, leaning close enough that he could smell her expensive perfume. Meanwhile, he was eating lunch with Nia. In the art room. Like some kind of tortured intellectual. It was insulting. We need to talk, Luna announced, cornering Kai at his locker. Her friends flanked her like backup dancers. About Nia. What about her? His tone was polite but distant. Look, I get it. You're new, you don't understand how things work here. But people are starting to talk, and I thought, as someone who actually cares about social dynamics, I should warn you that hanging out with her is affecting your reputation. My reputation. He repeated the words like he was testing them in his mouth. Yes. I mean, she's nice and everything, but she's not exactly, you know. And you could be sitting with literally anyone, but you choose to hide in the art room with someone who doesn't even try to fit in here. Kai closed his locker carefully. When he turned to face Luna, his expression was unreadable. Nia doesn't need to try. She's already more interesting than everyone else in this school combined. He slung his bag over his shoulder. Including me. Definitely including you. He walked away, leaving Luna standing there with her mouth open and her friends suddenly very interested in their phones. The video went viral by the end of the day, or at least viral within the Ridge Elite ecosystem, which for the students felt like the same thing. Someone had filmed the whole exchange. Comments poured in, divided roughly into two camps, those who thought Kai was sweet and those who thought Nia must have manipulated him somehow. Nia saw the video during last period. Her phone buzzed continuously with notifications, people she'd never spoken to suddenly tagging her, commenting on her posts, analyzing her appearance and her art and her worth as a human being. She left school without saying goodbye to anyone, including Kai. He found her the next morning before classes started, sitting under the cherry blossom tree with her sketchbook closed on her lap. "You disappeared yesterday," he said, sitting beside her uninvited. "You shouldn't have said that stuff to Luna." "Why not?" "It was true. Because now I'm part of your story, and I didn't ask to be. You know what people are saying? That I'm using you. That I'm desperate. That you'll wake up eventually and realize you can do better. Better than someone who sees me as an actual person? That's going to be hard to find." She turned to him, frustrated. "You don't get it. You can afford to be noble. You're the cute new boy. Whatever you do, people will find a way to make it work in their narrative about you. But me, I'm just the black girl who should have known her place." The words hung between them, sharp and true. Kai was quiet for a long moment. Then, "My whole life, people have made assumptions about me based on how I look. I'm supposed to be good at math because I'm Asian. I'm supposed to be mysterious because I'm quiet. I'm supposed to be confident because I'm conventionally attractive. And everyone's so busy projecting onto me that they forget to actually see me." He looked at her directly. "You're the first person who didn't do that. You didn't want anything from me. You just let me exist next to you. Do you know how rare that is? That's just called basic decency, Kai. Maybe. But you're the only one offering it." Nia felt something crack in her chest, the wall she'd built developing fissures. "People like me for how I look," he continued. "You're the only one who talks to the real me. So yeah, I said what I said to Luna. Because it's true. And if that makes your life harder, then we'll deal with it together. But I'm not going to pretend you're not the most genuine person I've met just because it would be socially convenient." She wanted to argue. Wanted to protect herself. But instead she just said, "I hum that melody because it makes me feel less alone. I know. The drawings everyone thinks are stupid. They're how I process the world. How I make it make sense. I know that too." She finally smiled, small but real. "You're kind of intense, you know that? Only about things that matter." They sat under the cherry blossoms while the morning sun climbed higher, and for the first time since moving to Neosol, Nia felt like she might actually belong somewhere. The following weeks unfolded like a quiet revolution. Kai stopped pretending to be interested in parties he didn't want to attend. Nia started eating lunch in the cafeteria sometimes, though always at the corner table where the light was best for sketching. They developed routines, walking home together on Thursdays, sharing earbuds on the subway, teaching each other pieces of their worlds. Nia taught him about Nigerian artists, about Afrobeats and high-life music, about the weight of being a bridge between cultures. Kai taught her guitar chords, Korean phrases her textbook never covered, about the loneliness of being everyone's idea of perfect. The trolls continued online, but they learned to ignore them. What mattered was the world they were building together, a world where being seen was more important than being popular, where quiet conversations held more weight than public declarations. But the universe has terrible timing. 3 months into their friendship, because neither had been brave enough to call it anything else, Nia's father announced at dinner that his company was transferring him to Lagos Tech City. The entire family would be relocating in 6 weeks. Nia told Kai the next day in the art room. He was playing guitar, and she interrupted mid-song. "I'm leaving." We're moving back to Lagos in 6 weeks. His hands stopped on the strings. The silence felt violent. 6 weeks. Yeah. He set down the guitar carefully, like he didn't trust himself to hold it anymore. That's not enough time. For what? For anything. He looked at her, and she saw something in his expression she'd never seen before: fear. I just found you. Kai. No, let me. He stood up, paced to the window, back again. Do you know what the last 3 months have been like for me? Actually being able to breathe. Being able to be quiet without someone asking what's wrong. You made space for me to just exist, and now I have to go, she finished quietly. I don't have a choice. The remaining weeks blurred together, moving too fast and too slow simultaneously. They spent every possible moment together, trying to memorize each other. Kai learned the exact way Nia tilted her head when she was concentrating. Nia learned all his guitar callices by heart. They didn't talk about what they were to each other. The word love felt too big and too small at the same time. But it was there in every shared glance, every accidental touch, every melody he played that she'd hummed first. Graduation came too quickly. The ceremony was beautiful and meaningless. Afterward, while everyone else took photos and made plans for celebration dinners, Kai and Nia found each other under their cherry blossom tree. I made you something, he said, pulling out a sketchbook. Not hers, a new one, thick and expensive. Open it. She did, and her breath caught. Every page was filled with drawings, his drawings, which she'd never known he could do. They were rough, unpracticed, but earnest. Drawings of her sketching. Of the art room. Of the two of them under this tree. Drawings of every moment that had mattered. You did all this, she whispered. You taught me to see the world differently. I wanted to show you what I see. She wiped her eyes quickly, then reached into her bag and pulled out a rolled canvas. I made you something too. He unrolled it carefully. It was a portrait of him, not the Kai that everyone else saw, the charming new boy with the perfect smile. This was the Kai she knew, sitting with his guitar, eyes closed, lost in music. Vulnerable. Real. The background was filled with musical notes that transformed into cherry blossoms, and hidden in the petals were tiny words in her handwriting. Thank you for seeing me. Nia, he started, his voice breaking. Don't, she said. If you say what I think you're going to say, I won't be able to get on that plane. So instead, he just reached for her hand. They sat like that until the sun set, fingers intertwined, saying nothing because there was too much to say. She left 3 days later. 5 years is a long time and no time at all. Nia threw herself into her art, studying at the Yaba College of Technology, then establishing herself in Lagos's growing contemporary art scene. Her work explored themes of displacement and connection, of being seen and being invisible. Critics called her a vital new voice. What they didn't know was that every piece was a conversation with someone who couldn't answer back. Kai moved to Seoul, worked with his father's music production company, played session guitar for artists whose names topped charts. He was successful by every metric. He dated occasionally, nothing serious. His friends said he was too picky. What he didn't tell them was that he was ruined for casual connection, that 3 months with someone who actually saw him had reset his entire understanding of what relationships could be. He kept Nia's drawing above his desk. She kept his sketchbook on her nightstand. Neither reached out. The unspoken agreement was that moving on meant letting go, and contact would only make it hurt more. But the internet has a way of connecting people who are meant to find each other. Nia's return to Neo Seoul for a gallery exhibition wasn't planned as anything more than professional. She was representing a collective of Nigerian artists, part of a cultural exchange program. The opening was at a small gallery in Hongdae, the kind of intimate space where art felt personal rather than commercial. She arrived early, nervous in a way she hadn't been nervous in years. Her work was strong, she knew that. But this city held ghosts. The gallery was already filling with people when she heard it. A melody so familiar it stopped her mid-conversation with a curator. Her melody, the one she used to hum in the art room, but arranged now for guitar with a complexity that made it sound both nostalgic and new. She turned toward the small stage area in the corner. Kai stood there, older but unmistakable, his eyes closed as he played. He'd grown into himself in 5 years, broader shoulders, a confidence that came from knowing who he was. But the gentle quality remained, the sense that he was always listening to something deeper than surface sound. Their eyes met across the gallery, and the world narrowed to just that connection. He finished the song. The small crowd applauded. He set down his guitar and moved through the room toward her, and she moved toward him, and they met in the middle like gravity had always been pulling them back together. "Hi," he said. "Hi." 5 years of words piled up behind that simple exchange. "Your work is incredible," he said, gesturing at the walls where her paintings hung. "I've been following your career. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You kept playing our song. It was never our song. It was always your song. I just borrowed it." They stood there, people flowing around them, until the gallery owner announced it was time for the artist talk. Nia had to go on stage, to speak about her work, but she couldn't look away from him. "Stay," she said. "After. Please stay. I'm not going anywhere." The exhibition ended near midnight. They were the last ones in the gallery, sitting on the floor in front of one of her largest paintings, a portrait of hands reaching toward each other across negative space. "I pulled out your drawing before I came here tonight," Kai admitted. "I wanted to remember exactly how you saw me. To see if I was still that person." "Are you?" "More so. You taught me it was okay to be that person." He looked at her. "I haven't stopped thinking about you in 5 years. That's probably not cool to admit, but I'm tired of pretending things I don't feel." "I paint you," Nia said quietly. "Not literally. But you're in everything I make. The idea of being truly seen, that's you. You changed how I understand connection. Past tense. Present tense. Continuous." He reached out, his fingers hovering near hers. "I don't know how to do this casual. I don't know how to treat you like you're not the person who taught me what it means to be known." "Then don't." She closed the distance, their hands touching. "I'm here for 3 months. My collective is doing installations throughout the city. 3 months is longer than the first time. It's not enough. Then we'll figure out how to make it enough. Or how to make it longer. Or how to exist in 2 places at once. I don't care. He paused, gathering courage. "I just know that finding you twice means I'm not supposed to let go again." She kissed him then, there on the gallery floor surrounded by her art, and it felt like finishing a sentence that had been left hanging for 5 years. They didn't promise forever. Forever was too abstract, too presumptuous. But they promised 3 months of mornings, of coffee dates and late-night conversations, of showing each other how they'd grown and who they'd become. They promised honesty. They promised to not waste time on games or pretense. And 3 months turned into plans. Nia's collective wanted to establish a permanent space in Seoul. Kai's production company was expanding to West Africa, needed someone with cross-cultural insight. The logistics were complicated, but not impossible. Nothing worth having ever is. 6 months after the gallery opening, they stood under the cherry blossom tree at Ridge Elite Academy. It was spring again, the petals falling like snow around them. "Do you remember what you said to me here?" Nia asked. "About how people liked you for how you looked. And that you were the only one who talked to the real me." "Yeah, I remember. You helped me love myself," she said. "Not in some cheesy way where you completed me. But you showed me that being seen doesn't mean changing. That the right person wouldn't need me to be louder or smaller or different. You just made space. You helped me be myself," he replied. "The me I actually wanted to be, not the version everyone projected onto me." A petal landed in her hair. He reached up to brush it away, and his hand lingered, cupping her face. "I love you," he said. "I've loved you since you didn't care that I was the new cute boy. Since you just let me sit next to you while you painted. I love you too. Since you picked up every piece of my sketchbook. Since you made my melody into something beautiful." They kissed under falling petals, and somewhere on campus, a new group of students probably whispered about the couple under the tree. But neither of them heard it. They'd learned years ago that the only opinions that mattered were the ones they held of each other. Love doesn't always start loud. Sometimes it begins with two quiet souls simply seeing each other, really seeing, past the surface, past the projections, past the noise. And sometimes, if you're extraordinarily lucky, that seeing becomes the foundation for everything else. Kai and Nia walked away from Ridge Elite Academy hand in hand, their future unwritten but no longer separate. Behind them, cherry blossoms continued to fall, marking time, marking change, marking the spot where two people decided that being truly known was worth more than being universally admired. And that made all the difference. If this story touched you, if you've ever felt invisible or ever wanted someone to truly see you, do me a favor. Hit that like button, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and drop a comment telling me about a time someone really saw you for who you are. And if you want more stories that dig into the real, messy, beautiful parts of connection, subscribe. Because there are so many more stories to tell, and I want you here for all of them. Thanks for watching. Until next time.